Is there a bombing method that can both approach the enemy covertly at ultra-low altitude and suddenly pop up from the terrain to launch a precise attack on the target? There really is. It is the famous 30-30 pop-up attack, also known as the 30-30 tactical bombing. This attack method is usually classified in the NATO system as a special tactic of shallow-angle dive bombing. Its greatest feature is that by the time the enemy just discovers you, you are already ready to drop the bombs. And not only aerial bombs, but even rockets and aircraft cannons can adopt a similar attack approach because they follow the same principle, using low-altitude penetration, approaching the target covertly, and then suddenly pulling up to launch the attack. So how is this 30-30 tactical bombing flown? First, let's look at the origin of its name. The first, 30, refers to the 30-degree offset angle, and the second, 30, refers to the 30-degree pitch-up angle. These two numbers are the core of the entire tactic. Before the attack begins, the fighter usually maintains ultra-low altitude flight, with altitude generally below 500 feet and speed greater than or equal to 450 knots. The purpose of this is to use terrain to cover itself and expose itself as late as possible to the enemy's radar and anti-aircraft firepower. When the fighter is about 3 nautical miles from the target, the maneuver officially begins. At this time, the pilot first offsets the heading by 30 degrees to one side, then levels the aircraft and immediately pulls back on the stick to climb, with the pitch also reaching 30 degrees. The entire pop-up process will generate approximately 4G of overload. At this moment, the fighter is rapidly climbing as if it's suddenly charged out from the ground. As the altitude continues to increase, when the fighter climbs to around 3,000 feet, it banks toward the target direction, slowly aligning the aircraft's velocity vector with the target. After the aircraft's heading is aligned with the target, it levels the aircraft again, and then begins to establish the basic aiming parameters. As the fighter approaches, the bomb release line will slowly drift above the target, and then confirm the aim and release the bombs. After the bombs are released, the pilot has 2 ways to egress. The first is to continue pulling up the nose by 30 degrees to leave the explosion zone. The second is to establish a positive rate of climb and then turn parallel to the side. However, the second egress method requires the aircraft to have a higher speed to leave the explosion zone. Both methods allow banking the aircraft to visually check the destruction status. The entire attack process, from pulling up the aircraft to releasing the bombs, usually takes only 20 to 30 seconds. For the enemies on the ground, there is almost no reaction time. This is also the greatest advantage of the 30-30 tactical bombing: sudden appearance, rapid attack, and then quick disappearance. If you have also learned this tactic, then let's review it together with the real-world 30-30 tactical bombing.